Hello everyone! Today's story is about courage, hunger, and a dream that refused to die, even when everything else did. It's called The Refugee Who Built a Restaurant Empire. This story will not only help you practice English, but it might also remind you that no beginning is too small, and no dream is too far away. There was once a man named Amir. He was 27 years old when war forced him to leave everything behind. His home, his city, even the smell of the bread his mother baked each morning. He arrived in a new country with nothing but a torn backpack, a few coins, and a small faded photo of his family. He couldn't speak the language. He had no job, no connections, and no plan. But he had one thing, a recipe. It was his mother's recipe for a simple spiced lentil soup, the kind that made strangers smile and families sit just a little longer at the dinner table. For weeks, Amir lived in a crowded refugee shelter. He felt invisible, just another lost name among thousands of others. Every night, he would stand by the window, look out at the unfamiliar city lights, and whisper to himself, "If I can't go back, maybe I can build something forward." He was determined not to let his past define his future. He soon found a job washing dishes in a small, bustling restaurant. The owner, Mr. Bennett, was a kind but very strict man. Amir worked harder than anyone else, scrubbing pots until they shined, cleaning the floors after everyone had gone home, and always staying late to learn. When the cooks left for the night, he would quietly watch how they chopped vegetables, how they stirred sauces, and how they seasoned their dishes. He didn't have any money for cooking school, but the hot, steamy kitchen became his classroom. One cold evening, the head chef didn't show up for work. It was a disaster waiting to happen. A big order came in, 10 bowls of soup for a nearby office. Everyone in the kitchen started to panic. Amir hesitated for just a second. Then he took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Sir, I can cook soup," he said softly, his voice barely a whisper. Mr. Bennett looked at him, doubtful but desperate. "Fine," he said with a sigh. "But if it's bad, I'll pretend I made it." A small smile appeared on Amir's face, a mix of nervousness and determination. He closed his eyes for a moment and remembered his mother's voice in his head, telling him, "Cooking is like speaking. You must feel what you say." He moved with a quiet confidence, mixing the lentils, onions, cumin, and coriander. Then he added a small secret touch at the end, a squeeze of fresh lemon. When the soup reached the customers in the office, there was a moment of silence. Then they asked for more. Mr. Bennett stared in complete disbelief. He walked back into the kitchen and asked Amir, "Where did you learn to make this?" Amir smiled, a genuine, warm smile this time. "From home," he replied. That night, something fundamental changed for him. He wasn't just a refugee anymore. He was a chef with a story to tell. In the weeks that followed, Mr. Bennett let Amir cook his special soup every evening. People started coming to the restaurant just for that one dish. They began calling it the refugee soup. It became so popular that the restaurant had to add it to the menu permanently. One day, Mr. Bennett took Amir aside and said, "You've got something special, kid, but talent isn't enough. What's your real dream?" Amir answered without a single moment of hesitation. "I want to open a restaurant that feels like home, especially for people who have none." Mr. Bennett nodded slowly, a look of respect in his eyes. "Then save every coin," he advised. "Watch every number. Build it piece by piece." For the next 3 years, Amir did just that. He worked grueling 14-hour shifts, saved every penny he could, and learned everything about the restaurant business, from budgeting to customer service. He ate simple meals, wore the same old jacket for years, and kept his dream folded carefully inside that old photo of his family. One rainy morning, he walked past an empty corner shop with a faded "For Rent Wheat" sign hanging in the window. The rent was high, and his savings were low. But something about that little place whispered to him, "This is the door." He spent all his savings on the deposit, bought second-hand furniture from various thrift stores, and painted the walls himself. He decided to call his restaurant Home Kitchen. It wasn't a fancy place. It had only 4 tables, a collection of mismatched chairs, and a small menu handwritten on a chalkboard. But on the opening day, Amir stood behind the counter with shaking hands and a steady, hopeful heart. His first customers were 3 construction workers on their lunch break. They looked at the menu on the wall and asked, "What's this?" "Lentil soup." Amir smiled warmly. "Yes, it's my mother's recipe." They decided to try it. After they finished, they ordered another bowl each. The next day, they came back and brought their friends with them. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. People came not just for the delicious food, but for the feeling they got when they were there. Amir made a point to talk to everyone like they were family. He remembered their names, asked about their days, and always greeted them with a heartfelt, "Welcome home." Soon, local newspapers started writing articles about the refugee chef who serves comfort in a bowl. TV reporters came to interview him. When one of them asked what his secret was, Amir said, "I don't just cook. I remember what hunger feels like, not just for food, but for hope." Within 2 years, Home Kitchen had grown from 1 small shop to 3 successful locations. He made it his mission to hire other refugees, people who, like him, needed a new beginning. Each new employee brought a dish from their own homeland. Soon, the menu became a map of the world, featuring Syrian falafel, Afghan bread, Ethiopian coffee, and Ukrainian dumplings. Amir truly believed that food could build bridges where politics had built walls. He often told his team, "Every dish is a story, and every story deserves to be heard." But success didn't come without its challenges. One winter, a major storm flooded one of his restaurants. The equipment was ruined, and his savings nearly vanished again. Some of his friends told him to give up. "You've done enough," they said. But Amir just shook his head. "I didn't cross oceans to stop at puddles," he replied firmly. He reopened the restaurant within a month, stronger and more determined than before. He used the setback as a valuable lesson. Always prepare for the next storm, both in business and in life. Years passed. At the age of 40, Amir stood outside his newest branch, a shining modern building with the same handwritten words painted beautifully above the door, "Welcome home." He now had 12 restaurants in 5 different cities, employed more than 100 people, and had countless loyal customers who felt like family. But every single morning, before the doors opened to the public, he would cook 1 pot of lentil soup himself, the very same recipe that started it all. He would taste it, smile, and whisper to himself, "For you, Mama." One day, a young journalist asked him, "What's your success secret?" Amir thought for a long time before he replied. "Success isn't about what you have," he said. "It's about what you share. I shared a bowl of soup, and the world gave me a table to serve it." He now funds cooking programs for refugee youth, helping other young people find their own path through food. He teaches them that starting over doesn't mean starting from zero. It means starting from experience. And perhaps the most beautiful part of Amir's incredible story is this. Years after leaving his homeland, he received a letter. It was from his mother. She was alive and living safely in another country. When she heard about his restaurant empire, she cried and wrote back to him. "My son, I always knew you would feed the world with more than food. You would feed them with hope." Amir framed that precious letter and hung it on the wall of every one of his restaurants. Below it, a small plaque reads, "No one leaves home willingly, but some people build new homes wherever they go." Amir's journey reminds us that you can lose everything and still build something beautiful. It shows us that kindness and hard work are the only passports the world respects everywhere. And it proves that home is just a place. It is something you build through love, courage, and persistence. So if you're facing tough times right now, remember this story. You might be standing in front of your own empty shop moment. You might not have much, but maybe you have your own recipe, a skill, a dream, a story. Start with that. Because even the biggest empires begin with the smallest flame. Listen to this story twice. Once for emotion, and a second time for vocabulary. You'll learn useful phrases like build something forward, flooded with challenges, cook comfort in a bowl, and starting from experience. And remember, don't just learn English. Live it, speak it, and build something beautiful with it.